What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk. My name is Sam, and joined by my constant and ever so consistent co-host Shreyas Singh. We are talking about Bruno Fernandes. There's been more bombshells than you can shake a stick at today. Fabrizio Romano, not to be outdone by David Ornstein yesterday, with his Delap one, has come out with a massive Bruno one, saying that Al-Hilal are willing to pay whatever Man United desire for Bruno Fernandes to get it done. There's lots more info on that, and we will go through the entire timeline of stuff that's kicked off about last night. Honestly, straight after we came off the stream, there's just a bunch of news came out, as always. So, yeah, we will go through everything. Shreyas, first of all, how are you? Have you seen all the news and stuff? And did you watch the Hong Kong game?
Watched the Hong Kong game. Really glad for Cheeto to finally get some goals for the first team. And again, really looked like, an 18-year-old kid is able to do much more on the pitch than Rasmus Højlund.
17.
So,
he's not even 18.
Yes,
He's 17.
Yeah. So again, very, very happy for him. Bright future ahead of him. Hopefully, he gets a loan move where he gets adequate minutes to a right club and, can come back in and prove very, very useful for the team. Again, and after beyond that, all the news about Bruno definitely, troubled me a lot during the day, because this is one player who I would say, even if they gave us like 200 million, he's someone who I would still say, you still need to be quite certain about replacing this guy, because the impact he has on the team, the amount of times he's already saved us last season, and perhaps, you could say the only player in this team who's actually been coming up with the goods when it comes to goal contributions is him. So it is going to be very tough shoes, tough shoes to fill if we actually end up selling Bruno.
Absolutely, we're going to get into all of that. But yeah, on the Hong Kong game, Cheeto looked excellent. I thought his movement was very good, finishing really, really well. Shea Lacey, I thought, had a good 25-minute cameo at the beginning. I thought he was good. Seko Kone continues to improve, I think. Obviously, we're playing Hong Kong opposition, but I think they looked good. Rasmus Højlund continues to look like a shell of a striker, which is quite worrying. And that could possibly be the last time we see Bruno Fernandes in a United shirt. Like, he could be gone before that. So, yeah, I'm glad it's finished with a win. I'm glad we don't have to watch United play football until, when's the pre-season kick-off?
2 months, I think. 2 months.
August? July?
Yeah.
So I don't have to watch any of that for a while, so we can just concentrate on transfers and things like that. Shout out to everybody in the chat: Brian Casey, Andy Williams, My Damn United, all the good stuff, all the irregulars. Appreciate you guys. We'll get into your comments, so please do keep them coming and keep them flowing throughout the show. Right, let's get into the timeline. So I think it was late last night. There was some news around Bruno Fernandes, and of course, it scrolled back up after I've clicked off the page, which is highly irritating, but we'll go back down. So we had a stream, and then a few hours later, there was news from Ben Jacobs saying Bruno Fernandes' agent Miguel Pino travelled to meet with Al-Hilal this week in the Four Seasons Hotel in Riyadh. Saudi sources described the talks as productive. Their offer has not yet been rejected, adding that significant efforts have been made in the last 2 days to try and get the green light. A bunch of pictures then came out of his agent, and there people were trying to say, oh, it's Luis Diaz's agent as well, and Saudi are looking at him. A lot of stuff like that. And then a couple of other sources backed up what Ben Jacobs said. Chris Wheeler said the same thing. And then Ben Jacobs returned with Hilal waiting on Fernandes' decision, but pushing. They insist Fernandes is yet to reject their offer, adding significant efforts have been made. Man United's position remains they don't want to lose their captain, and no bidders arrived from Al-Hilal. The next 3 days are going to be key. So that was where we left it last night. Then this morning, Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, again, a source I trust very much and respect, also been on the channel before. There's a feeling internally that United's offer, should United entertain Al-Hilal's bid, they might invite other European teams to make offers. Bruno Fernandes' offer from Al-Hilal is being considered by Bruno. 21 million a year net on a 4-year deal. He'll be tripling his weekly salary. Al-Hilal prepared to offer 80 million for this summer. So it started at 80 million, the bid, and then throughout the day it's slowly gone up. So it's very interesting. And then Al-Hilal Saudi deal makers believe United, there's a chance United will accept a mega offer for Bruno Fernandes. That was Rob Dawson. And then the Telegraph also confirmed Al-Hilal now increasing confidence selling in Bruno Fernandes. The deal could be worth 80 to 100 million. So they've gone up from 80 to 100 at this point. It was then Al-Hilal's contact offer will be withdrawn in 7 days. They are prepared to send an initial offer around 85 million. That was Ben Jacobs. And then Fabrizio Romano decided to break the internet, saying Al-Hilal are ready to pay whatever Man United want to sign Bruno. They're offering a 4-year deal. Bruno's agent's been contacted since Monday. Cavi from Sky Sports, Al-Hilal will pay 100 million. And then Ben Jacobs, if they do make a bid, it is very likely that Bruno departs. The reason for that is because if it gets to the point of United receiving contact, it means Bruno has said yes, it is all on the player at the moment. That is where we're at. That is where it stands right now. Shreyas, how are we feeling first of all, and then we'll get into sort of specifics and things like that.
Again, I think the timeline that is being mentioned, if this move is to materialize, it will be done within the next few days itself. So it's not going to be something that is going to, drag throughout the transfer window. If it needs to happen, I think
the Club World Cup, don't they, next month? So that's what.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and apart from that as well, I think even if United are going to be entertaining offers, they should easily raise the price up to 130, 140, because this is a player who's finished 15th in the Premier League and has still managed to get almost 40 goal contributions, which is not easy if anyone's been watching United play the past few months. So I think United can definitely get more money out of it. The only question is, even if we do get that money, will Ineos actually be able to, spend it the correct way? Because getting young talents is a separate thing, but getting someone into this team with, you could say the expectation that he's going to come in and probably equal Bruno, or actually, even prove superior to Bruno in this system and, in this team is a very big ask. Because Bruno has not just been a player who's, got goals from that number 10 position. He's played in that 6 and gotten goals regularly for us. So it's a tough ask for anyone who's going to be coming in. And right now in Europe, when it comes to, those players who can function in 8 or 10, not going to be cheap. And the people who could probably replicate Bruno's numbers, you'll probably be heading into 120, 130 million territory anyways. Yep. So it's not going to be easy for us to replace someone like Bruno in this team.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on potential rebuilds and positions and stuff we could likely fill with that sort of money. Another sort of concern I wanted to bring up, and we'll move on. We will touch on the positives for Bruno and the positives for United as well. But another negative I wanted to say is the lack of leaders in this team. I know Bruno has a problem with Bruno, his petulance and the way he reacts to stuff, which I get. But without Bruno, who's captain of this team? Who's the leader of this team? Because we seriously lack a lot of players. Like, can't give it back to Harry Maguire, because that would just feel like a kick in the balls, wouldn't it? Like, you've just taken it off him and now you're kicking him on and giving it back. De Ligt has been here for all of 5 minutes, so I wouldn't give it to him. Other than that, the only players that have shown anything has been Ahmad and Yoro, and they're 2 young kids. You can't give them the captaincy. So it's just like...
Certainly not Onana.
No, not Onana. Jesus Christ, no. So, like, you're really lacking in leaders there for, like, who replaces him. So that's one thing. And you can't throw it, if you do bring in new signings, which we'll touch on, you can't then just give a captaincy to a new signing. That's exactly. I just don't think that works. So that's a worry with me. Yeah, like, what do you feel about the lack of leaders? Like, if he does go, like, we'll touch on the money and the other side of things, but yeah, the worry with the lack of leaders, is that something that concerns you?
It does concern me, because again, I think if you have to compare this situation to other teams when they have lost their big stars in, but they've ended up getting big bucks in return, there has been a stark difference, because they still had other players in that team who've, been carrying their own weight. You look at the likes of, for example, a lot of people say that this is a Coutinho moment, like when Liverpool sold Coutinho to Barcelona. But there is a big difference. People already knew Salah. Salah was already pulling big numbers in that team. Mane was already pulling big numbers in that team. So you still knew that, their attack is competent enough. that even if they lose Coutinho, these guys are genuinely competent enough to, still be able to get going with the goals. Right now, I look at this team, I don't know anyone who can even touch, double digits when it comes to goals or double digits when it comes to assists other than Bruno. And honestly, I don't know what midfielder we could get in that attacking front who can come in and replicate what he has done. And leadership is definitely a big thing. I think Delict is a very sound leader. I think Delict is a very competent leader as well. But it's not fair to the guy as well that one season in, even when he's been riddled with injuries as well, you
Here's the
straight away given
poison
him the armband.
chalice. United are shit,
Yeah,
and now you're captain because the best player's
exactly.
gone. Like, it's a big ask for him, isn't it?
Yeah, and good.
Yeah, I see like the positives that people are talking about, and I see it as that. But yeah, that leadership thing is something that worries me. It generally does worry me. But let's talk on some positives because it is quite negative. So if Fabrizio Romano, what he's saying is true, and they will pay anything, obviously we've got to push it and be like and act like we don't want to sell him and get the maximum amount of money possible. I've got a poll in the chat about what the minimum is we should sell Bruno for, so please do vote in that, and we'll get into the results at the end. But in my eyes, I think 120 million has to be the minimum. Like, if you can get more, fantastic. Like, but 120 million has to be the minimum because if we're going to sell our best player, and he's the one of the only players that we can sell for a decent chunk of change, you have to make it worth the time for United to go out, reinvest it, and rebuild the squad. Whether you trust Ineos or not, that's a separate thing we'll get onto. But it has to be 120 million minimum, doesn't it, Shreyas? Like, it can't be any less.
Has to be. No midfielder in Europe has done what he's done. Like, hands down, no midfielder in Europe has done anything that he's done. And again, if he moves to another team, not talking about Saudi, but within Europe as well, he'll have a big impact. He gets into a lot of teams. And I think you cannot argue with his stats as well. I mean, this is some guy who's been getting 25 goal contributions on the minimum for the past 4 to 5 years, which is not easy for any midfielder. So considering all that and the player he is, his performances for Portugal as well, you have to account that as well in the big tournaments that he's shown up for them. You have to get around 120 or 150 for them. And this is the rarest of scenarios where you hear any other club is, that is willing to pay anything possible for a United player. So you need to, mint as much money as you possibly can because you're selling Bruno Fernandes. So you genuinely must get every cent possible out of this deal, because moving into next season, it's not going to be a cakewalk. Villa is going to be reinvesting. Newcastle is definitely going to be reinvesting. Liverpool and Arsenal have already started making moves as well. City are definitely going to get some big names into that team as well. So the competition is already there. And even when in those mid-table places, Palace will be making moves since they're in the Europa League. Tottenham are in the Champions League. They'll be making moves as well. So if you want to compete with those guys, you need to be very smart moving ahead with any outgoing or any deal you possibly make.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. My Damn United brings up a great point as well. Like, we're going to touch on the rebuild and we'll get into specific players and where we think it should be reinvested. But if we do get this money and it is done, what Ineos do with this money is everything or nothing, isn't it? Like, if they fuck this up with this money, it's done, isn't it? Like, you have to get this right. If you reinvest, you have to get this correct.
They have to get it correct because, again, this first season has been an absolute disaster for Ineos. I know we weren't really great before that as well, but at least we weren't finishing 15th. So for them to have their first official season in charge, and then United finishing 15th in the table, where I would say a lot of the blame does fall on them. They decided to continue with Ten Hag. They decided to stick by the manager and have a window where they absolutely back Ten Hag to the hill, get all his players, get all the signings accustomed to his needs into this team. And after that, they around Christmas time, they decided to sack him, get another manager in Ruben Amorim, who we all know, and even Ineos knew, he's not someone who's going to compromise when it comes to his playing style or his formations or the way he wants to, pick players in a team. And it was going to cause trouble, and it would take time for these players not just to adapt, but to even understand how to play that sort of a system, especially when you're mid-season, especially when you're already struggling in the table. You could already see the warning signs in it. Like, okay, with Ruben Amorim, there is definitely probably a good future ahead when it comes to, if he's able to get the correct players and able to work it out, good future ahead. But they absolutely, wrote off the season when they made that move. And I think a lot of people saw that as well after the first 4 games, that system might work if we get the right players in, probably can dominate a lot of teams in the Premier League. But this season, you've absolutely written it off because you've just not got the players who can complement the system.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to get into a couple of comments just before we get into the next bit. Brian Casey, I think any offer under 150 million is an insult. If I said to you before Ineos coming, I'm willing to sell Bruno, Rashford, Garnacho, you would have told me to get my head checked. I'd rather sell Sancho, Rashford, Anthony, and Garnacho. Should be enough to help with the rebuild. My damn United, I don't think we get anywhere near 40 million for Rashford. I can see him being forever loan unless he kicks into some kind of form. Would be smart to sell everyone who can make you money from scratch, new era, new mentality, new spine. If Chelsea do take Sancho, we'll actually make 10 million profit on him bizarrely. Moondog, selling here or there, trying to hold on to your passage, just bandage where it need open surgery job for your club. UTFR, 120 million, great deal. We need to rebuild. It's not about replacing Bruno, it's about United's future. This could be our Coutinho moment. UTFR, I'd give it to De Ligt or Casemiro. I see the Casemiro thing, but how long is he going to be here for? Like another year, 2 years? If you want to build something long term, I think giving him the captaincy is just not a
But
good idea.
like
either.
Bruno, right now, even he's a strong player, a difficult figure to replace because, again, probably one of the only leaders left in this team.
Yep. Big players take big responsibility. I think De Ligt has it in him. He probably does, but I just think it's really unfair. Like at this point, that's my only opinion. Yeah, I just touched on my damn United. De Ligt or Martinez, the closest possible captain options, but current injury records aren't great. Yeah, that's the worry I have with Martinez, his injury record. Ralph talked about open heart surgery, but selling Bruno means selling our heart. It's a good line, that. Well done, T2. All the Salah sales will happen in late July and late August. Ended a proper transfer window because we've got Cunha. Now everyone expects us to move like lightning. Yeah, let's touch on why I think Bruno might move. So we sort of talked about in the group chat. Obviously, this amount of money he's 30 years old. He's going to be 31 very soon. This amount of money is life-changing for anyone, let alone a football player. He's probably his last big deal. If he stays at United, he's probably not going to get a deal anywhere near this magnitude or what he's on currently at United. It sets him up generationally for the rest of his life. It sets him up his kids, possibly his grandkids. They never have to work a day in their lives. And it's an easier climate. He doesn't have to play as hard as he does for United and things like that. So it's essentially semi-retirement. It looked very rosy and very positive, doesn't it, for Bruno Fernandes in terms of like everything you could take into consideration?
It does. And again, the sort of offer that Saudi presents is very tough for any player to actually, put down. And right now, the situation is already quite chaotic at United, if you look at it and let alone a third person's perspective or someone from the outside, for a player's perspective, who I would argue would actually, debate that we've just had a shocking of a season. I've probably got 3 to 4. I think Bruno can still play quite well into his mid-30s because of the way he plays and his availability as well. He's got 3 to 4 years more left in him, and he would actually think, I can still move to a big club. I could probably move to a team that can play the Club World Cup as well, have an impact there, play for Portugal in the World Cup next year as well. It's not a death sentence moving to Saudi for just a couple of years. I can come back to Europe whenever I want. So he has all the options on the table. So from his perspective, I can absolutely understand it as well, because if he does stay at United, I'm sure that again he'll do what he's done this season, pull up with the goals, pull up with the assists. Will he win the Prem with us though? Big question mark. Will he be able to get consistently into the Champions League or make it into the finals of the Champions League with us? Big question mark as well. So for a player who's probably, nearing that mark, that only 3 to 4 years left, it's a big ask for any player. And any player would want to leave their mark on football history.
Yeah, absolutely. well, let's just touch on the rebuild. So, say we get, like, just for optimism's sake, let's say we get 120 million for Bruno Fernandes. Deal's done. In my eyes, that means you go Mbeumo, you go Gyökeres, and then you go after a midfielder. I think that's where you go. I think Gyökeres is your big striker signing. That calms everybody down, and you've got your striker for the future, probably the perfect fit. Mbeumo, who's been sort of touted and sort of looked at and stuff, I think that totally changes your front line then. Mbeumo, Cunha, Gyökeres, and Bruno Fernandes is gone. So those three will bring you. If those three don't bring you goals, then God knows what's going to happen. Because if they don't score, then you're fucked royally. So I think that totally changes your front line, and I think you have to go out and get a midfielder. Now, we spoke about some underrated midfielders
Now,
in the
if
chat.
Bruno goes, we'll need 2 midfielders then.
But obviously, so Bruno goes, Gyökeres, I think that's where the chunk of change, that's 60 million. Mbeumo, that's 50. So that's pretty much your sort of total taken up. So you've replaced your goals there with those two. And obviously, you got your future sales, Garnacho, Sancho potentially, Rashford potentially, Anthony potentially, Malacia. I don't know how much you're getting for him, but say 5 million or whatever. That's where you then use that to rebuild your midfield, I think, because I thought obviously Kobbie Mainoo could go. I don't see him going. I'm not seeing any links, but he could go. Casemiro looks like he's staying for another year. You've got Toby Collier, Sekou Kone could come in there. You got Mason Mount. I think we could then go out and get, like we spoke on, you like Steeler from Mainz. Is it Mainz he's from?
But Stuttgart.
Stuttgart,
like,
sorry.
We've seen today.
Yeah, Madrid have been linked to him. Yeah, Madrid are interesting. But we could steal a match. Say we sell Bruno and stuff, like we could steal a match on them and get hold of him. I like Anton Stash as well. Within the, I think
he's linked with Dortmund, and he's also linked with Bayern. So again,
those
quite tough to actually reel him in.
But if we get, like I said, getting those kind of players, get steal a match on them, we sell Bruno and we sell these other likes of players. Everybody forgets the window's not even open yet. So like deals are getting agreed, but the windows are not open yet. So I think those type of players, Stash, Steeler, I think
Stash is still possible. Stiller will be a bit tough because again he's changed his agent to Tony Kroos, and you can understand the theorem there.
And I think those are the type of guys we have to go after, the players before they get to the next stage is where you go for them. Like, because when you try and buy them from Dortmund, it's going to cost you 80, 90 million, and it's too late at that point. So I think you need to go for those sort of players. I'm sure there's more players like that. Like, I'm not a scouting expert. I'm sure there's more players out that who are similar to that mold that we could go after. I know you mentioned Burkhardt as a forward who could potentially as well. So there's players out there that if your scouting is correct, your scouting is spot on, we could go out and get and rebuild this team. But as we've touched on, Ineos's record, their first transfer record, I think is decent, but there are some question marks there. So I think De Ligt was a good signing. I think Yoro was a good signing. Xerxes,
Mazraoui was good.
Mazraoui is fantastic signing. Xerxes, I think there's question marks.
Yeah.
Ugarte, there's question marks.
Question marks.
So 3 out of 5, I think, is a decent record. And I don't think you can get every single transfer right. Fergie didn't get every transfer right. Klopp didn't get every transfer right. Pep doesn't get every transfer right. I think you're always going to find players that don't work for whatever reason. Aiden Heaven's another one. Again, fantastic.
Yeah. Dorgu, I quite like the guy.
Yeah, I like Dorgu, but I think he still needs time. He still needs time. He's not had a full season, so I think he still needs time. So I think their record has been pretty decent. So I think I'm more likely to trust them. Say John Murter and Richard Arnold were still in charge, I'd probably be like, oh, this is going to be chaos. This is just going to be, we're going to go out and sign a 33-year-old former Real Madrid midfielder or something, aren't we? That's what's going to happen. Like,
if they were here, we would have signed Modric on a free right now.
Yes,
honestly,
yeah, probably, most likely. So yeah, I have more confidence with Ineos being in charge, especially with Wilcox and Barada and stuff. How do you feel? Like, if we do get the money for Bruno, are you feeling confident that we could? Because we're never going to replace Bruno, but can we rebuild this team to the point where it is a competitive unit if we do sell him?
The problem for me right now is the goals in this team, honestly, because the past 3 years, even during Ten Hag's best season where we finished 3rd, we only scored 58 goals in the league. After that, we scored 50. This season, we scored around 40 or something. So to replace the amount of goals, we are already taking 30 out of them in a way.
Yeah.
So if Mbuemo, Cunha, considering we again do manage to get Mbuemo,
Mbuemo got 20, I believe.
Yeah.
Says 20. Cunha got 16?
16, 17, I guess.
Yeah. Says 36. And then Gyökeres has got ridiculous, like 40 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll replicate that. If he does, then fucking amazing.
The question for me still is, again, Gyökeres is, are we actually going to be able to get Gyökeres? Are we actually going to be able to get Mbuemo, considering I know right now it's open for Gyökeres, but I can, write it down. It won't be open for long. Yes. If we wait it out too long, other clubs are going to come into the picture. Other clubs, you never know. PSG might come in for Gyökeres. Possible. Maybe after the Champions League final, can happen. So don't let other clubs get into it. If you see it that there is a clear way, I would put Mbuemo on pause and get Gyökeres right now, because Mbuemo we are already in a bit of a fight against with Newcastle. Sure. So at least Gyökeres seems possible right now. Divert all your attention there, because I think Gyökeres out of all the strikers is someone who everyone looks at with some sort of credibility, that has worked under the manager before. We know what to expect, and in this system where you're outnumbered when you're moving with the ball forward, he's someone who knows how to take multiple defenders on and still end up getting the goals. So we've honestly got to move very quick, and it's going to be tough as to how many of these signings we are actually able to get in.
It's interesting as well, though, if you look at like the sort of strikers. So Arsenal are making concrete talks with Sesko. Newcastle have also got Isaac, and they're not going after anybody. Chelsea have got Delap, and also going after Ekitike, I think.
Yeah. Tottenham are in for Ekitike as well.
Yeah, I don't think he'll go to Tottenham, but stranger things have happened. So it seems like there's a free run at Gyökeres. And I know we don't have European football. I know we don't have European football, which is definitely a factor. But I think that Ruben Amorim factor has definitely got to be something, hasn't it? Like, it's definitely got to be something in that.
It has to count for something, yeah.
And he's the guy who reignited his career and made him the guy that he is right now. Like, that has to be worth something, right?
Yeah, and I think even he knows, for him to prove himself on the grandest of all stages, Sporting isn't the club, unless he actually goes all out and wins the Champions League for them. That's a separate conversation, but he needs a move out of there. So quite glad Arsenal haven't got him, because that front three with Gyökeres in it, you can already see the script. I can see it with Sesko as well. Sesko is an unreal player, but I know if we get Gyökeres, it'll work out. It's not like the other signings that we've had under previous managers that, bright prospect can get to a certain level, comes in and flops. This is the guy who's been scoring 40 to 50 goals on a consistent basis for the past 2 to 3 seasons now. And he's not too young as well. Like, he's 21 or 22. He's at the that age of experience, as well as in his prime, the age that we definitely need to get into that sort of attack. And if it ends up being like a front three of, even I would say, not going to account for Mbuemo right now, I really like the player. If we get him, I'll be very, very overjoyed. But at the moment, if it is even Cunha, Ahmad and Gyökeres up top, I can see that front three causing a lot of damage.
Yeah, we've got 10s that could play. Like you said, we've got Ahmad who can play there. You got Mount who could play there.
Yeah.
We've just bought Cunha. So as much as I'd love Mbuemo, like, don't get me wrong, but it's not the dire position that striker is right now.
Exactly. It isn't. And I think we will still be looking at other wing backs as well, to reinforce this team. We've already seen it, that United are strongly considering a move for a couple of more wing backs, or at least one wing back and another midfielder. So you're quite covered in that area.
What's the guy inside? Is it Bisek?
Bisek.
Yeah, I've seen links with him. I've seen.
But he's a centre back.
Yeah, but they want him to come in and play. Like, apparently he can play wing back. He's capable of playing wing back. So
if it was possible, would really want DeMarco.
Yeah. Oh, DeMarco, that'd be fantastic. That'd be amazing. But yeah, I don't see that happening ever. Unfortunately,
never.
Yeah. Let's get into the comments. Let's have a look. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, if you've got any questions, guys, to wrap up the sort of last 5 minutes before we go, we'll try and answer those. Heaven was a steal. Absolutely. What was he, like 1 million or something? Raid in Heaven, and he looks phenomenal. So yeah, he's definitely a steal. Steeler is mega, 50 million release clause. I didn't know he had a release clause, but that's interesting. Feel that Vivell, Wilcox, and Barada are cooking in the background. Barada said we're working on a huge rebuild. Dogger's been decent. I agree. 1.5 million. Oh, it's 1.5 million. Yeah, absolutely fantastic business. UTFR are in for Jokeres. 100%. If we sell Bruno, are we going to get that's close to Bruno? That's by Culture Boy. I don't think we're going to replace Culture Boy. Replace Bruno Culture Boy. I think we have to think about building the best team under Ruben Amorim. That's what we need to
shift the conversation to a different sort of a midfielder, because again, you still got Cunha, you still got Ahmad, you still got the likes of Mount there, and people seem to forget Xerxes is actually deployed in that 10 as well. So you've got possibly 4 players in that number 10 position still. I think if Bruno goes, Gyökeres would be a signing we could go for. A wing back could be a signing we could go for. A midfielder. These 3 signings we could probably get done. And still excited to see, how much of a role Diego Leon plays next season as well.
Yeah.
He's someone who's going to be coming in, and he's physically capable to play in that position. So you never know, how after preseason, how this squad is going to look. We might actually see a lot of changes into this front, starting 11 itself, brand new attack, maybe a brand new midfield. Defense, I still think there will be familiar faces, brand new goalkeeper as well.
Possibly. Yeah. I know. Like they were speaking about Ruben in his first season after he came to Sporting, and he implemented a lot of academy players. So we could see a lot of academy players make their way through. I know Shea Lacey started. Second Coney's looked good. You could see a lot of players.
He had that one moment in that game against Asian also has looked, bright prospect.
Yeah. So you could see those guys making their way into the team as well. So yeah, keep an eye out on that. Even if Jokeres got us half of what we got in Sporting, those goals will put us in the top 6. Absolutely. If he comes in and does 20 goals, fucking absolutely, fantastic. If Bruno goes, we need Mbuemo and Steele and Jokeres. I mean, I would love that, but I don't see all 3 coming at the same time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Brian and Bruno, I'm getting. If Bruno leaves, I've already said that. How much is Belieber valued at? I love Belieber, but are they going to charge us 100 million? Like
they let go of Caicedo for 115.
Yeah.
So with Belieber as well, even if we are able to negotiate quite well, not going to be sold for less than 100. I think they labeled Ayari around 60 million. So you can just contemplate. Yeah, so you can just contemplate how much they'd want for Belieber.
Yeah, I love it. Just like if Belieber came tonight, it'd be amazing. But I just don't see us getting him for anything less than like 100 million. Like I think
we're not going to be making 120 million signings.
They know what they've got, so they're going to charge for the ass for it. Unless he has a release clause like McAllister has that I don't know about.
That only works for Liverpool.
Yes, true. If we get Mount back that Chelsea had, he'll be magic. He's showing signs. Yeah, he has shown signs, but he didn't show up in the final, which really bugged me. Not really. Well, I mean, most of the team didn't show up, but it is what it is, isn't it? If Bruno goes, bearing in mind that Amorim has earmarked him for a deeper role in midfield, who do you replace him with, i.e. transfer in? My 2 choices are Anton Stash and Steeler. They would be my 2 choices. But who would you go for, Shreyas?
I said Barrios from Atleti, a young prospect as well. So, and good with ball retention.
Yep.
So he's someone I would look at. Stiller, I think he's perfect.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I think Madrid will get him, with that German connection with Cruz. Stack is definitely someone you could take a look at. But apart from that, Belieber would have been perfect. But again, like you mentioned, 100, 120 million, we're not going to be moving for that sort of a player. And just need to be very cautious. I like Fretesi from Inter, but again, will be rated quite high, highly, even if we get a good deal around 60, 65 mil. But Inter are known for selling their players even after they have brilliant seasons.
He came from, I think, is it Sassuolo?
Sassuolo.
I think they bought him from. And we were interested. Apparently, we spoke to his agent or we spoke to people around him. So it's just like, this is what I'm saying. Like, we need to go and get players before they go to the Inter, before they go to the Dortmund, before they go to... We need to get these players. So it's like, this is what United need to be doing. So this is what needs to happen. So I'm telling you right now, if Angel Steeler goes to Madrid, he's going to be absolutely tearing it up. And people are going to be like, why have we not bought him?
Yes.
Anton Stash will probably end up at Dortmund or Bayern, and he'll just look like a
Yeah.
phenomenon and we'll regret it forever. So this is what United need to be doing. Ahmad Kabach, Cunha and Bremer in stats in the 10 role, absolutely. UTFR is getting excited about Cunha, Jokeres and Ahmad. Yeah, absolutely. Offset Bully is 100 million for Belieber. Brighton can keep in. The thing is, Offset Bully, somebody will pay it because Chelsea paid 115 million for Casido, and he's a very, very good player. So somebody will pay it. Somebody will pay it. Mateta, please come to United. I'd like Mateta. I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
Fratesi said he wouldn't leave Italy when he was at Sassuolo. Yeah, a lot of Italian players don't leave in Italy, did they? They like
even Tonali said he wouldn't leave. Now he's playing at Newcastle. So okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. We could get Jokeres, then Obi can learn from him. I mean, that would be the perfect scenario. That. What about Eze? I like Eze. I do, but I don't know if he fits in this system. I don't know if he can do that inside 10 role for us. I think
he does it quite well for Palace. So the only problem is
he doesn't track back. He doesn't work hard.
Yeah,
he's great going forward, but
he's not a frontline presser like Bruno is, like Mount is, like that do the amount of legwork that they put in. Mateta does aggress quite well, quite a lot. So he'd fit in quite well. But Eze is a phenomenal player. But again, this is going to be Palace's first season in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if Eze will be leaving this season itself.
Yeah, I don't think they'll let any of their big players go, Palace, because they want to compete in Europe. Obviously, they've just won their first trophy in forever, so I think they're going to want to keep Mateta, Eze, Wharton,
Munoz as well.
Munoz. Oh, man, can we go get Munoz? Jesus Christ, what a player. How much they pay for him? It was fuck all as well, wasn't it? It was like 12 million.
Yeah, not a lot. Not a lot.
Ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous.
You can look at Villa. This signed Duran for around 4 million or 5 million, ended up selling them for around 80 to Al Nassr.
So stupid, isn't it? So stupid. Fuck's sake. Offset Boys, thoughts on the Vert Steel guys, Liverpool cook it. Yeah, that's upsetting me. I don't want to talk about that. That's really upsetting. Oh God. Monaco have a central midfielder who's class as well. I can't remember his name. Do you know who he's talking about? Shreyas?
Monaco.
Central midfield, Monaco.
They had one called Chomeni who was available for 30, but according to us, he was quite pricey, so we didn't move in for him.
What happened to him? He didn't do anything, did he? Nothing happened to him. He didn't go.
Yeah, just won a couple of Champions Leagues. And
fucking hell, absolutely irritating.
How many of these players have we missed?
Just constantly, just fucking constantly.
And we signed Mount.
Yeah, for no reason. We didn't need him, but we signed him. Fantastic. Guys, can I ask how many players you all signed so we can be better? Like, if we've got an open checkbook, I'd say sign about 10 players, but it doesn't work that way.
I think for genuine improvement, if we want to make top 6, we need at least 6.
Yeah.
Complete. If we can,
you need a goalie, you need a striker, you need a wing back, 2 midfielders,
a 10, 2 midfielders. So 6 players.
6 players. In reality, and we're probably going to get maybe 4, 5 at best. I don't think we're getting 6. Sadly.
Rely on Carrington to get you through.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that is it for questions in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us in the chat. Shreyas, if I put a gun to your head right now and we start the season in August, is Bruno Fernandes still a United player?
I would turn the gun at Bruno and ask him not to leave. But from the looks of it, it looks like he's going to be leaving, which is very sad.
I agree. But yeah, if you want to keep up to date with all the latest Bruno stuff, please do follow our socials, follow our Twitter, our Instagram, our TikTok, our Blue Sky. We put everything up there as quick as I can get it up. Nick is back tomorrow, I believe, from his holiday, so Nick will be back on the channel tomorrow. We're going to do our season review either tomorrow or Sunday, so please do keep an eye on that. There's going to be some ridiculous look backs on some of our predictions because God knows how bad ours were at the time because United finished where they did, so please do tune in for that. As soon as we work out the time, we're going to put that up, and please do come join for that because it'll be fun. It'll be really interesting. Thanks to Shreyas for being on with me all week. We have been holding down the fort, and we're going to take over this channel if it kills us.
Yeah.
So Nick ain't getting it back tomorrow. It's our channel now. Yeah, appreciate you coming on, Shreyas. It's been really helpful for me to have somebody to talk to.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Guys, thank you in the chat. We'll see you all tomorrow. But yeah, check out our socials because something will probably kick off immediately after we end this stream because it always does. So please do check out our socials. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out.